All right, I'd like to call to the City of Apache Junction Work Session, to order. Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
I think I'm here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Present.
Councilmember Evans. Here. Councilmember Heck,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Nesser,
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, presentation, discussion, and follow-up on the Arts Commission. Daniel? Okay, Rudy?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
welcome, or good evening, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rudy Esquivias. I'm the Development Services Director. I am happy to be here tonight, once again, Mr. Mayor, to introduce Dianne Cripe in just a couple of minutes here, as well as Mr. Trevor O'Tool, who is the artist who was selected by the Public Art Commission to design the art pieces, our very first public art pieces for the new Dutchman Dog Park. Before I do that, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of milestones, basically where we started, where we are today. The Public Art Commission regulations code, if you want to call it, was put together in 2019. In December 19th of 2019, the Public Art Commission had their first meeting. In April 12th of 2021, the first discussions about public art at the then planned dog park began. In January 10th, 2022, the request for qualifications for artists for the dog park art were finalized. In February of 2022, the call for artists went out. On May 9th, 2022, artist Trevor O'Tool was recommended by the Artist Selection Committee, which was kind of a subcommittee of the Public Art Committee. The Public Art Commission was unanimous in their recommendation as well. On June 21st, 2022, the City Council approved on their consent agenda artist Trevor O'Tool to design art for the dog park. In September 12th, the Public Art Commission made their recommendation on the actual art pieces for the dog park for the City Council's consideration. And a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Mayor, on October 3rd, we came to you for a work session. Those art pieces were presented to you. The council had a few questions, concerns about the art, the anchoring, the paint, possible hazards, things like that. So this evening, Mr. Chairman, without further ado, we have Dianne Cripe present, as well as Mr. Trevor O'Tool to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Dianne?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to come again and give you more information about the public art projects. We also have Trevor O'Tool, who is the selected artist. He's here to answer more specific questions. I have a PowerPoint that also gives some more information, as well as some information about the aesthetic choices, which you can also approve or not approve. So, without further ado. Okay, so this is just a refresher in terms of the location of the Dutchman Dog Park, and as well as the planned location for the artwork for the major piece, which is the husky and the pup. Here we have a slide that goes over information about how the tail is now going to be curved. It would be very difficult for anyone to be injured by the tail at this point. Also, this gives you an illustration of the armature, or the skeleton of steel that is going to hold this together. And you can also see how the skeleton goes right into the tail. All the sculptures will be anchored onto a 4-inch concrete pad, which will also further distance it from the public, but also it's very helpful in terms of not having irrigation erode the sculpture over time. Okay, and this is a little more information, in-depth information about fabricating the sculpture and about installing the sculpture. So the pull-out strength is 15,000 pounds straight out. So it would require a lift to actually pull it out of the concrete. And then below that, the artist is given information about a 3/4-inch nut welded into each of the feet, galvanized, all thread feeds into the leg, and then they're epoxied in addition to that. And this is an industrial strength epoxy. The surfaces are going to be ground smooth. Sharp edges will be rounded to ensure public safety. And again, note that the curled tail is going to reduce risk of incident. At this point, the pup will be built separately from the husky, and then they will be welded together. This makes for a stronger sculpture, having them together like that. Painting and maintenance. I think maintenance is always a concern with public art. We know that this is in a high-traffic area. We know that the desert environment is also brutal when it comes to finishes, regardless of what the material is that's being used. So the artist is going to use a high-quality auto body paint that's UV resistant, multiple layers of primer, the color, and then there'll be a clear top coat. The paint should last 10 years or more, probably more. The recommended maintenance is to power wash it twice a year, or if it is particularly dirty, more often. There's a recommendation to use an automotive wax coat as kind of a sealer that prolongs the paint job. Consider having a detailer twice a year. This is not, this is optional, to detail the paint as the sculpture is in the high traffic area. The paint is auto body rated and should last many years, and the wax coating will last 3 to 4 months. So here's some information about why the artist chose the colors that he did. Bright colors were chosen to highlight the park and to coordinate with the color scheme that is presently at the park. The artist would like art to stand out rather than to blend in with the landscaping. The bulldog lifting his leg is just designed to bring humor to park visitors. And it's also a sculpture that's going to be tucked away so that visitors discover it as a humorous accent piece. And also the artist has offered to create the bulldog on all fours, so that all fours will be planted firmly on the ground. I should say all 4 paws. So in terms of color, these were the original colors that were selected by the Public Art Commission. And I also want to give a shout out to members of the commission because they put a lot of time and energy into this project from the very inception of the idea. So this is basically a teal blue, a light teal blue or bright teal blue with a light green. And this is an alternate color choice 1, which is a darker teal and a more muted color green. And then even darker still, you have a medium green and a darker teal. And then another choice that's different altogether is a light blue and a terracotta. So those are 3 other color palettes that are being selected for the sculpture because what we heard in the last meeting was that the original colors were very, very bright. And then this is just another illustration. The bulldog, sorry, we don't have one with him standing on all 4s, but that's not an issue. So at this time, I'd like to take questions. And Trevor is here to answer questions as well about some of the fabrication techniques that will be used or any of the aesthetic choices. So we're open to answer any questions.
I have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were talking about the tail, I thought we were also talking about the pup's tail because that's the one that would be like a height where a child could fall onto that tail, and I don't see that one curled up out of the way.
You want to speak?
That one, it's a lot more
they're-
curled,
they
and that's
will
going to be
both
rounded on the end of it. And then my second question may sound kind of gross, but I'm going to ask it anyway. There's automobile paint, and I've had birds actually like deposit on my car, and that didn't go very well in the Arizona heat. I would imagine that some of our furry friends that'll be visiting the park may think that this be someplace that they should imitate the bulldog. So how is that paint gonna hold up? Sorry for the odd question.
Hopefully the top coat that we put onto it is,
And speaker, please.
oh, sorry. Hopefully the top coat that we put onto it, it protects it. But I mean, you know, the elements. And I can communicate with my painters too, who will have better answers to those questions.
Yeah, there might need to be several coats of top coat up
Yeah.
so high, maybe?
Yes, Yeah.
It'll have top coat, it'll also have a wax layer, and it'll be 4 inches above. I think having it on that concrete pad is really important in terms of separating it from not just the people and the kids, but also from the dogs.
Okay.
Are you done? First of all, I'd like to thank you for making the trip up here. I truly appreciate that. My only confusion tonight is the original photo of the two, the second one, the pup's tail is curled more. The third one, it sort of even looks more,
Out.
and then, yeah, on number 3, it's out again. Is that just a picture
Yeah, that was
error
just
thing?
previous color samples that we had chose.
Okay, but the pup's tail will be curled like the big one?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay. In looking at, I'm no artist. I can't draw a stick figure that looks like a stick figure. But as far as the colors go, if you look at the signs in the background along the fence, the pup blends in fine, even with, and not meaning to blend in, but, you know, that color's already there.
Right.
And on the teal and light green, to me, those colors work the best, just because it sort of matches the palette of those signs in the back that aren't going to go away. I personally don't have a problem with the bulldog raising his leg, because bulldogs are kind of goofy to
Yeah.
begin with, and even when they run, their legs are kind of up in the air. So it's, take it for what you want, as long as there's going to be a tree wherever his leg is lifted. Then it'll make sense. But, yeah, I personally like the color choice 2 best.
Two,
2.
2 or all?
not alternate choice 1? I thought you were just saying.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
This
Oh,
is,
because I switched to the tail
yeah,
thing.
alternative one.
So the alternative one kind of matches those signs. That's my only thought. And thank you again for coming up here. It's not fun to stand in front of us.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
It's okay, nobody shoots. Okay, well, maybe them, but, you know.
At least not here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I agree with Councilwoman Evans about the dogs, the colors, but I do disagree with the bulldog. Mainly, so there is a dog park in Santan that has a statue of a turtle on it. And people don't call that the Santan Dog Park, they don't call that the dog park, they call it Turtle Park. I, for one, don't want us to be called Dog Piss Park. So basically, I would prefer all fours.
All 4 on the ground. Peter?
Yes. So regarding the paint and the clear coat, obviously not wanting to see it happen, but the potential for it, graffiti, paint on it, or somebody using markers or something, would that be difficult to clean if you had someone that painted it?
To answer that, I'm not too sure, but there's always graffiti removal that we could use.
There's always one, I'm sorry?
graffiti removal.
Oh, okay,
So there's that kind of chemicals that might take it off.
okay.
We're used to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not uncommon for Parks Department to remove graffiti on
All kinds.
all kinds of parks.
Park, okay. I just wasn't
Parks,
sure if-
equipment,
wasn't sure
park
if-
slides, parks,
yeah,
art,
just wasn't sure
non-art.
if that clear coat
Yep.
would be able to withstand the cleaning agents that would be needed for,
And I could double check,
Yeah.
okay.
you know.
Liz is good. Liz is giving me the big thumbs up that we'll feel confident getting graffiti off, yeah.
Where's Liz? Oh, there's Liz.
Okay.
I vote for the alternate choice number one. I like that. I don't care if the dog has its leg lifted or not. I'm not gonna pick on that. I like that the leg, I made a big issue of that, that the tail needs to be curved. And the way, after all of your answers about how, what kind of paint, just like on my Ferrari, you know, we want a good paint job,
Right.
so,
Right.
so that it's good and lasts a long time. Yeah, I like these colors. That was, I don't know, that sounds picky, but I like them better than that real bright lime color. So that's my say.
Krista?
Your Honor, I don't have any other questions. I'm listening and I'm just taking in what the other council members are saying. And I agree with Gail. I appreciate that they came and gave us the opportunity to, you know, ask questions and get further detail. It was a good presentation. So I just wanted to echo what Gail said and thank them for coming.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one question. What's your idea on the bulldog, having his leg lift or not?
You know what, Your Honor? It's a dog park. I have dogs. I have a puppy that literally grew up at that park since it's been open, and I have no preference. I'm happy to go with the pleasure of the majority on the council.
Okay. I guess we're waiting for my comments.
Tag.
Tag, yeah. I'm it. Again, I appreciate you coming up, and I appreciate, you know, what you're doing. I wanted to say, as far as the color on them, the choice one, I like, because it seems to, I'll say, blend in a little bit better in it from what we see from the picture here displayed. And I'm still up in the air about the lifting of the leg. I kind of like the idea of having a tree nearby, so that'd be more appropriate in the aspect on it. But it's, at first I didn't catch it. It wasn't until somebody told me that, did you notice that picture? And then all of a sudden I saw it, and, you know, kind of did a strange, and what was the reaction's going to be on it. And that's, I guess we'll have to make a decision as to what we all want on this. All four on the ground or one in the air?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I guess one could say it might be a little, not edgy, but, a little riskier, whatever it is, how people interpret it. But, I don't see that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think the artist had a sense of humor. That's generally what dogs do. And, I don't know. I don't see it necessarily as a bad thing or, anything that would be negatively reflect upon the community or the dog park. I don't know. I'm just curious to see what the majority opinion is on the council.
Okay, I'm going to go down the line. Yes.
I had one more question. The bulldog, the color of the bulldog, is it what's on the last screen?
The bronze.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be the color of that. How close is that to the other two? Do we know?
Like, what do you mean?
You mean-
Color close or-
Physical?
Physically cockles.
Yeah, because that kind of doesn't go real well with, and you know more about colors than I do. But I just kind of noticed that.
We're looking at two different locations for the Bulldog. One is towards the left by the Ramada, and one is towards the right of the entrance.
So they're not going to be like, right,
They won't be close
Okay.
together, no.
then it's fine.
The husky should be the front and center, like
Yeah.
the main piece.
When you
That'll be
first
just,
come up.
yeah. The bulldog's kind of like a hidden secret little,
Gotta
Yeah.
go find it.
you gotta go find it.
Do you have a bulldog?
I don't, I have a husky though.
That's my other question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, if we're gonna be talking about the bulldog, I would actually prefer it to have the four paws down. I think if it's near a tree or a bush, then you've lost the color of the bulldog in with the brush. And if we're gonna have people talk about the magnificent art there, I think we're gonna want them to really focus on what's at that entrance point. And that's gonna be an artistic work, where the other one's already gonna be humorous because he is a bulldog. I don't think he needs to be doing his business at the same time. I'd rather see us appreciate the art more than the humor. Since we're trying to move forward with art, we all have a sense of humor. You don't have to have it in the park.
Gail?
I'll go either way. Bulldogs are hysterical one way or the other.
Robert?
All four.
All four? Peter?
Well, first I realized I did not weigh in on the color thing, so I will do that. I am fine with the choice one, the teal and the light green. I really like the terracotta husky, but nobody else mentioned that, so I am abdicating to those that like the teal. As far as the bulldog, at first, like the mayor, I thought the dog was just jumping up and down until I looked at it closely and realized it wasn't. But I have to admit, if it's designed to kind of generate a little humor, people kind of chuckle, I think that's okay. I don't know that that's. I would hope that after all this, they're not going to call it the Pea Park or something like that. I'm hoping that wouldn't happen. But so I'm comfortable either way, but I'm okay if we do want to keep it with the lifting its leg.
I like the humor of the dog lifting its leg, but I don't care one way or another.
Well, we got two, and, Krista, do you want to weigh in any more on it?
Again, dog with his leg up, I'm fine with it. People either get it. Several of us didn't even realize it until it was brought to our attention. So I'm fine with it. I don't want to make too many changes. Safety is more of my concern.
Okay, so I guess we're, for the majority, is going to be lifting its leg.
That's not the majority. If anything, 2 said decisively not, and 5 was indecisive. So if the indecisive people could go either way, then it would be the 2 that were decisive.
Okay, Peter, up or down?
I have to use the restroom.
Good one.
Up or down?
Up. I mean, if you're putting a gun in my head, up.
As long as that leg's not up, just like we didn't want the tail to be up, now you got the legs sticking out, so. Same issue.
Gail?
Oh, damn.
Up or down, Gail?
Well, I was just thinking of what Bambi said about tripping, but
Yes, that looks like about eye height.
your height?
Eye height.
Oh. Yeah, up is fine with me. I got a sick sense of humor, so, most people realize that.
Okay, Krista?
Again, I'm fine with up. Safety is my concern. I don't see a safety issue with it being up. I'm fine with it.
Okay. We're gonna go with the leg up.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. We have
you.
votes for the color choice number 1 and for the Bulldog to have the leg up. He'll be on a 4-inch pad, so there won't be a trip hazard for that, but,
And the pup's tail curved.
and both tails curved, but thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks again for coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Presentation, discussion of case number P 2198 SD, Old West Highway Village.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm going to recuse myself from deliberating on this item since I made a recommendation to council on this matter last year in my capacity as a planning and zoning commissioner. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, City
Yes.
Council. Or would you like me to wait a moment?
Yep.
Hurry.
You guys really want me out of here?
Okay.
Good evening, City Council. It's good to be before you tonight. Tonight is just an informational item regarding the Old West Highway Village preliminary plat, P2198 SD. So generally speaking, a preliminary plat is often, we consider it at the same time as rezoning, but in certain cases, the developer prefers to do all the engineering work and everything later, because when it's considered at the same time as rezoning, they put in that time and effort to do all the engineering work involved in a plat at risk. So in the case of this developer, they have proceeded through the rezoning process. The rezoning case PZ120 was approved in February of 2021. At that time, it changed the rezoning of this property from a B4 light industrial business park to the RM1 PD and adopted the conceptual plan of the neighborhood as well as conditions of approval and different stipulations regarding the zoning regulations at that time. So the developer has in the process been working through the engineering work and everything involved with developing a preliminary plat, and they have submitted it, processed it, and so they now request the approval of the preliminary plat. It's about 7.7 acres consisting of 2 parcels, and the proposal would lay the foundation for a 106-unit townhome subdivision. So this is a let me correct that. I didn't mean to say that. It is a ownership. Each parcel would be separately sold and so forth as a townhome and that kind of subdivision. Now, the actual subdivision and the creation of new lot lines would happen at a later date. This would proceed for consideration and the approval of preliminary work at the later city council date that I'll get to, but then the actual subdivision lines and the creation of the new lots would happen with the final plat approval, which would also come back to the city council at a later date. Just as a greater context for the rezoning, I zoom out a little bit. Again, it is zoned RM1 PD, which is the high-density multiple family residence by plan development. This is the rezoning site plan that was approved, the conceptual plan that was adopted under Ordinance 1501 as part of PZ 120. Now, since that time, the applicant has modified the site plan in order to adjust several different things, namely the units on the south side of the property have been pushed further back as the road, the interior driveway now stretches further south. So they adjusted the placement of the units in order to further give a buffer for the neighbors to the south. Amenity features which were required by Ordinance 1501 have been implemented throughout the site, whether that's different ramadas, tot lots, a pickleball court in the southwest corner of the property. And these different features have been introduced into it. One of the big items that has been addressed during the approval of Ordinance 1501 and as part of the deliberation for the approval of rezoning itself was the introduction of a height limit on the perimeter units on the west and south side of the property. So specifically noted on the plat, because the original rezoning approved both 2 and 3-story units throughout the property. However, the west and south perimeters were limited to only 2 stories, so that they're to provide greater privacy to the neighbors on both sides. So that has been noted on the plat in accordance with approval condition number 13. As I mentioned before, as part of the rezoning approval, there was greater implementation of amenity features. Those are reflected throughout the site. The Planning and Zoning Commission, receiving this proposal and seeing it in line with the rezoning and the conceptual plan approved, has voted 6-0 to recommend the approval of P 2198 SD, subject to the conditions of approval found in the staff report. And as a specific motion included within their recommendation, they have added that condition 4 would have stronger language to ensure that it is clear who is responsible for the maintenance if the HOA should disappear. That was an object of discussion during the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing just a couple weeks ago. It has been noted by the applicant. This was brought about by a fear because we have had within the city had HOAs disappear. They have gone defunct, whether the entire neighborhood just had the HOA vote itself out of existence or they stopped paying fees. So this was something that in other parts of the city we had been concerned about, and it is part of the standard language that we add to every plat, as well as the creation of any kind of new neighborhood, that we make sure that an HOA is responsible in perpetuity for the maintenance of landscaping, of common areas and tracks and so forth. Now, the applicant has noted that because that was a nationwide issue during the 2008 recession, where you had a lot of neighborhoods and the HOAs kind of go defunct because of the foreclosures and the different fees not being paid, nationwide regulation has further strengthened the fact that an HOA needs to be, or when it's created, that it will remain in perpetuity so that we don't have this conflict over who maintains it. However, in accordance with the recommendation, we are working to adjust the language so that it is absolutely clear that worst case scenario, because we don't plan for the HOA to be dissolved, but worst case scenario, were it to be dissolved, it's absolutely clear who will be responsible for the maintenance of the property. And again, the applicant, though they can't speak tonight, they have noted that the typical way of doing that is by having an assessment where, let's say you have a community common area, you have 106 property owners, each of them would be responsible for 1/106th of the related costs. But again, the goal is that within the CC&Rs and within all the plat and all the kind of developmental tools for the creation of the subdivision, the HOA will be responsible permanently and in perpetuity so that we don't run into this issue. But that was the recommendation, and it is something that we're working on. So with that, the planning staff, we have reviewed the project and we found that the proposed preliminary plat is in compliance with conceptual plans that were approved in February 2021 under the zoning case PZ 120 through ordinance number 1501, and likewise recommend approval of the preliminary plat. I would like to make myself available for any questions.
I have one
Yes,
question.
go ahead.
And this is something that Rudy and I discussed a couple months ago. On the south border of that property, can you get to the other one? Nope, go back.
The
to
previous one?
Yeah,
Okay.
to just the parcel itself.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so to the left of the screen of the orange line, is that a utility easement or a right-of-way? Or is it a private easement? You know, because it goes around that whole parcel there, so that we notify those people who's responsible for the weeds and the cleanup and all of that. Do we know what that is?
So if you're referring to this green section, so the green indicates that it is city right-of-way. In this case, it would be an alley. That alley may be used for utility easements as well. However, ownership would indicate that it is city-owned and a right-of-way alley.
So is that the way it stands? Okay. So tag where it. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else over here? Robert? No? Nope, I don't have any questions either. Oh, yeah, Krista, do you have any questions concerning this?
No, Your Honor, thank you for asking.
Almost forgot you, since you were not sitting here.
That's okay.
Okay,
Thank you. The formal public hearing will be November 1st, in just a couple weeks from now. And at that point, the applicant and the public will have the opportunity to speak on it,
okay,
just for everyone's benefit.
thank you. All right. Now we're coming up to interviews of applicants for the annual appointments and reappointments to the City of Apache Junction boards and commissions.
Mayor, if I may,
Jennifer.
can we get Councilmember Heck back?
I was gonna say, bring Peter back.
Oh, yeah, forgot.
Party's over.
Back to work.
Thank you, ma'am. They have the spreadsheet. All of them have the spreadsheet. Thank you, Your Honor, City Council members. Tonight is your annual interview process for those community members that have applied to serve on the city's boards and commissions. You have all seen that you have several positions to fill. There were 14 applications received this year. Just before we get started, a few items I'd like to address. We did have an applicant for the Health and Human Services Commission, and on your spreadsheet, you noted that they were ineligible, and that is due to their position with the, thank you, Salvation Army. Our city code states that if an applicant works for one of the nonprofit agencies, either in the current year or at least if they leave, they cannot serve for a year. But they have applied for other boards and commissions. There is also an applicant who is serving on the Board of Adjustment, serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission that also applied to serve on the Board of Adjustment. Currently, those are independent boards. And lastly, there will be a vacancy on the Planning and Zoning Commission by the end of the year. Council may wish to appoint that position tomorrow evening, as I am expecting Mr. Cross to send in a letter because he was elected for council. And I think that's all I have to cover.
So we need to fill 3 places or 3 vacancies for P and Z instead of the 2 that, we have the 2 incumbents and
So,
the 2
so
vacancies. Does
P and
that include Mr. Cross?
I believe I did. P and Z has 2 expiring terms. It has 2 vacancies, or will have. Mr. Heck was one of the vacancies, and Mr. Cross will be the second vacancy. Those terms expire in 2023, so it's a 7-member board. As long as you have 4, you have your quorum. If you can find 4, and you have 2 incumbents.
Okay, so the vacancy number includes
It
the
does,
potential.
the potential.
Okay, thank you.
I will say, one more thing. You have Construction Board of Appeals that will need to be looked at for appointment, as you do not have a quorum. IDA does not have a quorum. Your MPC will not have a quorum, and P and Z. So those commissions will need appointment to meet their quorum.
Your Honor,
Yes,
can I ask Joel a question?
sure.
So, because those boards don't meet with any regularity, is it in our city code that we have those boards, or?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Evans. It's in the code. You're supposed to have them, and if you don't want them, you can, if they're not prescribed by state statute, you can get rid of the boards and commissions. You could limit the number by ordinance. If there's no, if there's actually business to be done and there's no quorum, I would probably say there's a rule, something called rule of impossibility that says, no, they still get to meet if you have something that has to be done, that absolutely has to be done. So they still could meet, but it'd be better to have a quorum if you could
Well,
get someone.
yeah, but
But that
they're
rule-
boards that we, if not needed currently,
Well-
could need in the future.
Well, some of them don't meet because there's nothing to do, and that's been the case for many years on some of them.
That's a good reason not to meet.
But I think, yeah,
MPC.
but tonight is not, that's not really on your agenda to not appoint because they don't meet. We could reserve that for a different discussion on a different night. If you want to go through certain boards and commissions that you go, well, I haven't met in 30 years, why do we have them?
But if they had to meet and we didn't have a quorum,
I think
there's still that rule that they
Rule of
could meet.
possibility, yes. And I think it would still be held okay, however, that's if you couldn't get anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Krista, do you have any questions before we get started?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. And I just guess I'll be going down the list of the Board of Adjustments. And it would be the incumbent, Frank.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor Rizzi, board, council members, Frank Shabeck, 525 East Fred Avenue, Apache Junction. I've been on the Board of Adjustment for 7 years. It's an interesting place in that when we don't meet for years, all of a sudden we'd meet 3 times in 1 year. And it's, some cases are pretty straightforward, and every now and then we get one that's pretty messy. So it's really not a throwaway position, so to speak, because there are important decisions to be made there, even though they are rare. Right now, also tonight, I'm applying for planning and zoning, and that would have, if you would appoint me to that, I would have to resign from Board of Adjustment, which I would gladly do. However, if you do not appoint me to planning and zoning, I would like to stay on Board of Adjustment. I think some experience there is necessary. I was chairman for 3 years. And then Joe took over. I think anybody on a commission or board who wants to be chairman should have a chance at it. And that's why I didn't run for re-election for that position. So if it's planning and zoning isn't your choice for me, I would like to go back on Board of Adjustment. It is, however, my second choice.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Thank you for always serving.
No, thank you. Okay, Tim Bichon?
He's not here tonight.
Oh, I guess he's not here.
My apologies, Your Honor. Mr. Brichon stated that he was traveling, but he would like to serve on this commission.
All right, so now we'll go to Construction Board of Appeals. And we have Dave
Hanshi?
Hanshi.
Hansch?
Hanshi. Mr. Hanshi.
Hanshi, okay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, yeah, I filled in for the Construction Board of Appeals. It's one of those boards that never meets. When I got on it, they were asking for volunteers, so I volunteered to help the city out, and I'd be happy to stay on it. Again, it really doesn't take any time, and if you need a body on it, I'm volunteering again. So I'm on other boards as well, and that's really where my passion is, mainly planning and zoning, so. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Or anyone have any questions for him?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Nope. Krista?
No, Your Honor. Thank you for asking.
All right. Oh, I hear your dog barking. Okay, Health and Human Services
Your Honor, we did not receive any applications for the Health and Human Services Commission except for Ms. Bigelow, but she has applied for other boards and commissions. No. No, it's in our city code. It's part of the contract as well.
So, Your Honor, if I can ask a question, so if we have one expiring and 2 vacants, so that means we have 4 people out of 7, so everybody has to show up?
Yes, ma'am.
Or they can't have a meeting.
Or can you go for the rule of possibility?
Right.
Well, rule of impossibility,
Oh, impossibility.
meaning they can't vote but you have to try to get someone.
Okay.
And if you can't, then that's,
But it is possible for somebody who has applied for one, we might hear from them tonight that they might be interested. Maybe we need to ask everybody as they come up, would they be interested in any of the other boards that we do need to fill?
Yes.
that is your discretion.
Thank you.
So yes.
Mr. Mayor, I have to redial in Vice Mayor Ritchie
Okay.
real quick. It's just gonna,
She accidentally.
she accidentally hung up.
You there,
Vice
Krista?
Mayor?
I'm here. The dog was barking. I'm sorry.
No problem.
So,
Oh,
Mr. Mayor?
yes.
So with that being said, Mr. Hanchey, would you be interested in serving in any other boards?
If you need me, I could serve. I'd have to look into that one to better, but I'd happily fill in.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Dave, is there anything specific? We have several boards that we're going to need people. And this is for anybody, not only,
as I said before, my main one that I'm most passionate about is planning and zoning. I'd like to continue to serve on that one. So I won't want to serve on anything that would make me ineligible for that. But at the same time, I've filled in on many. I'm on municipal properties. I'm on Board of Construction Appeals, again, but those don't really meet that much, and it's not really takes my time. The municipal properties, we meet once a year. We just met last week. So,
what about library board?
I could if needed, but I think there's probably some better candidates out there.
Thank you.
But if you need me, I would be honored to serve. I like to help the city out in whichever way I can.
Thanks.
Thanks, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? No. Okay.
Industrial.
The IDA, 6-year term. And we have no one.
No applicants. And that is a board that is down to 2 members.
2.
How often does this one meet?
Never.
It's never met in my 21 years here.
We need to eliminate it.
So Matt, what's the one that we're working with our finance department on? Is it the MPC or the IDA that has
That's
some
the
potential with?
MPC, the Municipal Property Corporation, but the IDA is, over the years, the state legislatures reduced what you can use an IDA for. And so you'll find if you look in the history of the city, we used it a couple times back in the 80s or something like that. But then the state reduced it so much that you can only use it for a different couple things. We just haven't eliminated it just in case, but if the council wished to, we can look more into that and decide whether or not you want to keep that one around or not.
Joel, is that something we could do on another agenda? And, because
Yeah.
it sounds like this one might be the one, the MPC we were talking about with Leslie has some potential still.
Bryant,
I would suggest.
that's on my list for tomorrow to recommend that be looked into.
Yes, that's a direction to staff item
Yeah.
tomorrow night. That's fine.
Okay.
But it can't be tonight because it's not on the agenda.
Okay. Library. And we got an incumbent. Judy?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. And I've enjoyed being on the library board. I'm a reader. I can read a book in one day, but I stay up till 2 or 3 to finish it, you know, so becomes a problem for me. If you have any questions for me, I'm on a couple of other boards and commissions also, Health and Human Services and Park and Rec.
You don't have any problem continuing on here?
No, I don't.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of it? Krista, do you have any questions of Judy?
No, Your Honor, I don't. Thank you for asking.
Okay. And this would make 5, so they would have a quorum.
We'd have 2 vacancies still.
Yep, have 2 vacancies still.
And it's a great board to be on. You know, there's so many wonderful things that the library is doing. So I really would like to stay on that board. We're not going to let you go, Judy.
Don't worry about that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. MPC, 3-year term. Incumbent Dave again. Yes.
The man of the hour.
You're doing more
Mayor,
for
council
that.
members, I would be honored to keep on serving on it. As I said, we usually meet once a year. We just met last week. I think I filled in, my first term was a partial, and then I've completed 1 full term on it. And I'd be honored to keep serving. Any
Thank
questions?
Okay.
All right.
No
Thank you.
questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
And
Your Honor?
Frank?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Can I ask Jennifer a question on the library board?
Yes.
Just for clarification. So we interviewed Judy tonight. Lori, Wine, and Yvonne, are they?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Did not reapply.
Did not reapply. Okay, just want to make sure.
So you'll find in red on your pages where Judy Bory was listed, she is the incumbent applicant. And then if they did not reapply to serve, there is either nothing or nothing listed there, which just indicates that they did not reapply.
On this one.
So you
Parks
see
and
next to
Rec?
Judy Borys, it shows incumbent, right?
Right.
Yes.
If they don't have anything next to their name, that just,
Right,
they
they
didn't.
didn't reapply.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Parks and Recreation.
Cheryl.
And we'll have a heck of a
Cheryl.
time. Who?
Cheryl
Cheryl
Bigelow.
Bigelow. I was looking, trying to figure out where that roll went across here.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So I've been a resident of Apache Junction for 16 years. I'm a business owner. I'm also a graduate of CLI. And I just think Parks and Rec is like the funnest board. I really enjoy the monthly meetings. They do amazing activities and events for the community. I'd love to be a part of the board to ensure the continuation of their success.
Well, I love to see somebody who's excited about coming up here like that, because I can hear your energy.
And also, I would go for the library too, if you want to do.
I was just
the
about
library.
to ask
Yeah.
you that, because the library is also a very fun
yes, they are.
place to be, and a lot of children, so
Well, I had applied for 3. I would have done 4 with the library, but now since I'm out of Health and Human Services,
you would be interested in Parks and Rec and the library.
absolutely. I applied too for planning and zoning, but there seems to be a lot of competition in that one.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering extra.
Anyone have any questions for her?
Nope.
Krista?
No, Your Honor, I have no questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Lost my place here.
Down here to
Heather Moeller.
Yeah.
Heather?
We have Miss Heather Moeller.
She did a little dance, so.
I was all excited when multiple people said my name. I'm like, oh, a celebrity. Thank you very much. So my name is Heather Moeller,
Former Parks Rec.
Okay,
and I
there it
am
is.
currently on Parks and Recreation Commission, and I would love to continue. I am open if you need me on another board. I just need to make sure that that doesn't conflict when they meet. And any questions for me? I'm a Libra, just had a birthday. I know, I don't look it. I know.
Now, would she be eligible for Health and Human Services?
Do you work for any nonprofit within the community?
No.
Then yes.
So you would be eligible for that as well as the library then?
Oh, fancy pants.
So you
Heather.
you could just spread your joy to all kinds of things, couldn't you? There you go. I see a dynamic here. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else any questions? Krista?
No, Your Honor, thank you for asking.
All right, thank you. And Frank?
He is currently serving on the library board. His term expires in 2024, so
Oh.
with some
So
of
he's-
our
so he's
applicants,
not-
and if they're an incumbent,
all right,
I've
I
also
see.
listed what else they're serving on.
Okay.
And that is
I
all
saw
of
it
our
there.
applicants.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's it
Thank
for
you.
me. I was just like, is that all? Okay, all right, thanks.
All right. Wonderful P and Z. Okay, Robin. Miss Barker.
I can't emulate Heather's.
That was pretty good.
You can do it.
My name is Robin Barker. I live at 860 South Saguaro here in Apache Junction. I am applying for a seat on P&Z. I filled in for 2 years, and I would like to reapply at this point.
Would you be on the library board?
Love it.
Would you be
As
on
long
Health
as it-
and Human Services?
As a volunteer, do I
Oh, yeah, for Genesis.
I volunteer at Genesis, and I'm on their board. Would that,
That's a conflict.
That's
no conflict?
That is a
That,
conflict.
I
Yeah.
figured it,
But you
yeah.
said yes
No, that
for
is a
library?
Oh, sure, I'd love to. One of my favorite places besides the dog park.
Anyone
No,
else?
she just answered our questions.
Can't do that.
Boy, nothing hard tonight, yay, thank you.
Krista, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and thanks for volunteering.
The man of the hour again.
Okay, yes, Dave.
Oh, isn't Cheryl? We're looking at Cheryl?
She can't.
Yeah, I'll have to do Cheryl.
It worked last year.
Cheryl,
I was looking for the
Cheryl.
comments.
Cheryl not eligible?
Dave Hanchy, 142 South Royal Palm Road, Apache Junction. I have served one full term on P&Z, and I took over a partial on my first time elected. I'm currently serving as the vice chair on P&Z, and since Mr. Heck got appointed, I'm acting as the chair as well right now. And I love being on planning and zoning. I'd like to be reappointed. I find it's wonderful for the community. I always try and make decisions what's best for the community, put their needs first. I've had the pleasure of serving with at least 2 members up here on planning and zoning, which I think they've seen some of my work. Any questions?
Any questions over here?
Just thank you for getting up and down and up and down
Yeah.
and up and
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
and up and down.
That's the easy part. And I did take citizens leadership back in the day, which I love Val for. He does it great with that program.
Dave, I appreciate your contribution to the Planning and
Yep.
Zoning Commission.
Thank you.
You've been a more valued member.
Krista, do you have any questions for him? He's an incumbent right now.
No, Your Honor, thank you for asking.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, now Cheryl Bigelow.
So I pride myself on my relationships with the community, local businesses, and a lot of the nonprofits. So planning and zoning, to me, I think it would give me like a really good opportunity to present the residents and further serve my community by helping to influence policy changes and having a voice in decision-making.
We're filling this chart out that we,
We're working on it. Is that like a crossword?
we're not ignoring you.
Yeah.
It's just hard to, and this is the best we've ever had.
Yeah.
Have to thank Jennifer for that.
Maybe she should stand up and.
Take a bow, yes.
Bell, like a bell, yeah.
Anyone have any questions for her over here?
No.
No, thank you.
No questions over here, and Krista, do you have any questions for her?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, Mr. Kalan,
Then Ari, or,
Your Honor,
yes,
Ari is not here this evening.
okay. And Mitchell McGraw?
Michael?
Michael, okay.
I know, my print is small.
Mick. Goes by Mick.
My name is Mike McGraw, 1333 South Cactus Road. I would be, if you saw fit, a returning member to P&Z. I think I bring, based on facts, on how we make decisions and not personal biases, would be very important for a position such as this. Any questions?
Any questions from over here?
No.
No.
No? Any questions from over here? Krista, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And then Frank.
Oh, shoot, I wanted to ask him what the ESFM was.
Back again like a bad penny. So far, for Apache Junction, I've managed to serve on the library board, the Board of Adjustment, Parks and Rec, and Municipal Property Corporation. An interesting thing with the library board, I managed to come up with a good idea there when they were looking for how to do mail books, so people could get their books through the mail. And they asked, how are we going to get their addresses? How are we going to find out who these people are that like to join the program? And because I was on Park and Rec at the same time, and we deal with senior services who do Meals on Wheels, it seemed to me that that was a logical list for the library board, or the library, to get from Parks and Rec to find out who would be eligible for the books by mail program. That's an advantage, I think, of having somebody on cross boards, where they are more on more than one board. And then on Parks and Rec, just recently, with all our expansion going on south of 60 and all our planning there, I brought up the fact that we need to expedite our Welcome to the Community program, because we have houses going in right now. We've got the building going on at 60 and Old West down by Goldfield and other places, so I suggested that we get on it right now and not wait for later, and that has been picked up on by the city. So I make my contributions. They are hard to make around here because we have such a good staff. Generally, Parks and Rec, Liz and staff come completely prepared, and they bring us their ideas, and we fill out, we give our ideas, but generally with the staff the city has, we're mostly encouraging what they do. We don't find a whole lot of new stuff to do. With planning and zoning, like I said before, I see a lot of parallels to Board of Adjustment. Some cases are more or less just going through the paperwork. But then every planning and zoning has a lot more cases that are much more messy, much more involved, take a much more detailed look into. I'm a graduate in political science and history. Doing research is something I've been doing for 50 years. So that's nothing new to find out what's going on. Then making a reasonable decision. Watching the board and watching the council, I've learned to ask good questions. Robert's been one that always has kind of impressed me with the good questions he comes from that I don't really see where they're coming from till he asks them. And then I've learned that from others too, that the key to any position here is asking good questions, doing good listening to those answers, and then making good decisions. So I look forward to serving Apache Junction however I can. Any other boards and commissions you have openings on that you need to put a warm body in, I'll be glad to do. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions?
No.
I just think you're one of our gems.
Oh,
Thank you for.
thank you. Some people would say I need a lot of polishing, but.
Thank you. No questions?
Thank you.
Any questions over here? Krista, do you have any questions of him?
No, I just also appreciate Frank. Thank you so much.
Okay, excuse me. Excuse me. Got me all choked up, I guess, there. Public art. We got Jeffrey Danford.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm a graduate of the CLI, and I'm currently sitting on the Public Arts Commission. I would like to get reappointed to that one. I think we've come up with a good process. It still needs a little tweaking, and I'd like to have a part in making that a little bit better, more robust. As far as any other commissions, I'd still like to stay on public arts, but you can consider me your plug-and-play candidate this year. If there's anything else where you think I would fit, let me know.
Thank you.
Jeff, would you be interested in helping out with Health and Human Services?
Sure.
You're not on
Any nonprofit?
a nonprofit?
I'm on the board of SACA,
On arts.
which is Super Association Arts and Cultural Alliance. It's a
Yeah, they don't-
nonprofit.
They have not applied for any,
They don't get any public
Funding.
funding or
SAC has
anything.
never applied to the city
No.
for any funds.
no.
Okay, so he would maybe. All right. Any other questions? Krista, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I see blanks for the remaining, so we're going to have 2 vacancies there, right?
Correct.
Your
But
Honor,
those public arts still, they need specific requirements to fill them.
Not
Right.
for
You have a
public art.
practicing artist
You-
vacancy,
No.
and you also have an interest in visual performing arts vacancy.
Yep.
Mr. Danfield fulfills the visual performing arts requirement. And that is a 7-member board, and you've got 4 currently serving with unexpired terms, and Mr. Danford is the incumbent on this.
So that'd be 5.
So you do have a quorum.
Yeah, we
Yep,
have
you have
five.
quorum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
when Michael McGraw was up here, I know he applied for P&Z, but I don't think we asked him, would he be interested in anything else? If he wasn't on P&Z, would he consider the Board of Adjustment? He seems to have knowledge that would be beneficial to either one.
Michael?
Was that a yes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. PSPRS. Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me.
That's public
Yes,
safety.
this is your
Yeah.
Public
Yep,
Safety
yep.
Personnel Retirement Board. This board is made up of 5 members. 2 of the members must be represented by the police department, and the Police Officers Association has an election. Officers put their names in if they want to serve on this board, and then they have an election. So you have an incumbent, Ernest Eaton, who does represent the Police Officers Association and PD. And then the other requirement is 2 citizen personnel. And you do have an incumbent on that, and that's Jaime Lanza. And those are the only applications that we received for this board.
Okay.
Your Honor.
So, yes.
Jennifer, is there a reason we don't have one of these for that? Or the last one?
Yeah, the last one, yeah, they don't have them.
May not have printed.
Yep.
Yeah, but you'll have those tomorrow
Oh, it's
evening
at the
then.
bottom, if you look
Are
at
they at the very,
the only one that kind of started at the bottom of
It
the.
starts on the bottom of the one before, Robert.
Public Arts?
No, but it's the,
It may have been out of my print range. You'll have those tomorrow evening.
Okay.
Okay. Eaton, Ernest,
Ernest Eaton?
incumbent.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. I'm Ernest Eaton, for you guys that don't know me. I've been with the City of Apache Junction since 2013 as a police officer, and I also served on a public safety retirement board since 2018. It's been an honor being on this board, and now that we got Mayor Chip, I been on a couple of meetings where I guess board meetings with him, and then with the prior mayor, and now it's getting to know some of the other board members. I think that it's been good, kind of getting to know each other and going through all the information.
It's been interesting, hasn't it? I said it's been interesting.
Yes. Any
questions?
Questions?
Nope.
So
thank
you were, he had to be voted on by the police officers, so the police officers are already done there?
Correct, right.
Okay.
They've already held
Okay.
their nominations, votes, and he was elected to represent the police department.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that that part
That
had
has
been
already been done.
accomplished. Peter or Jess?
No, no questions.
Krista, do you have any questions for him?
No questions. I just wanted to thank Officer Eaton, or Detective, I should say now, for his service and all that he does in the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And
Jaime
Jamie?
Lanza,
Jaime.
Heine.
and here he comes.
Okay, Heine.
Mayor, City Council members, thank you for allowing me to participate in this interview process. My name is Jaime Lanza. I'm reapplying for reappointment for Public Safety Retirement Board. One of the reasons is because I got more than 30 years experience in criminal justice. I was lucky enough to participate the last 2 years with this board. It display excellent teamwork. We made a very good decisions who benefit the employees as well the city. I guess that's all I got, and I'm really excited to be a member again. Unless you got any questions for me.
Would you be willing to be on any of our other boards?
Like such as,
Well, Board of Adjustment,
I'm a part of the Board of Adjustments.
you are.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one I picked out of my hat. So you might be open to some other possibilities.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you so
Sure.
much.
Thank
Okay.
Potty time.
So.
Sewer board.
The last board and commission, Your Honor, is Superstition Mountain CFD. There are 3 terms expiring this year, and all 3 have reapplied to serve on that board.
So, James Reynolds?
You missed Jesse.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I'm your vice chairman of your sewer district board. I've got a lifetime of relatable experience. I'm an active participant. I'm vocal at times. We've got just a superior staff, really a professional staff. And we've got a lot of challenges ahead with all the annexation down south, 11,000 new homes, and we're going to be sending them some Class A purple water for irrigation and ponds and construction. And you've got a lot of infill in town. And we've got a cohesive board, and we know something about that. And we're very active. We meet monthly and sometimes work sessions in addition to that. So I'm here at your request. I'd like to serve again as long as I can, and that decision's in your hands. Any questions?
Any questions?
No.
Nope.
Krista?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse Gage?
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm Jesse Gage, 839 North Vista in Apache Junction. Here to ask to be reappointed to the sewer board. It's an exciting time down in the southern part of the city. We're in the process of developing designs for an expansion and all that goes with that. So I would definitely like to serve another term on the Superstition Mountain Communities Facilities District Board. It's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Anyone have any questions over here?
No.
I'm also on the P&Z board, and if you do have
Construction.
other vacancies, I can probably find some time. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Krista, did you have any questions?
No, I didn't. Thank you.
Okay. And then Philip?
Tremonti.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. I am Philip Tremonti. I'm a resident of Gold Canyon. I'm the secretary of the board presently, and we are going through an explosive time. I have 50 years of experience in corporate strategy and in structuring and restructuring companies. I'm hoping that you will reappoint me so I can be part of that explosion as we go south.
Anyone have any questions over here?
No, thank you.
Over here? Nope. Krista?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All right, anyone have any questions concerning? Okay, then you're gonna be in the area tomorrow, Krista? So you can vote on these?
Your Honor, we're en route.
Okay, well, drive carefully now.
I do have one quick question.
Yes.
You had said that Tim Prashant said that he would be interested, that isn't here.
Yes.
Did you get anything from the other person that was not here, Ari?
I know that staff reached out, made phone calls last week, sent emails just to follow up. I did not hear from him today, but staff did not indicate anything that he was out of town or, but I know that he was very interested when we spoke about serving on P&Z.
Okay.
Okay. I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.